Hello, everyone. This is Maurine Kwende, your podcast host, and you are listening to the Empowerment Minutes podcast. This is a podcast to empower you with nuggets on learning and development, training, leadership, coaching, entrepreneurship, and personal growth. I am a learning leader, researcher, speaker, coach, and consultant, and author of the book, Dream Big and Live Your Dreams Boldly. I'm also the CEO and founder of EMK Learning Solutions, LLC. I have had the honor to coach aspiring instructional designers and trainers in the learning and development space to become better leaders. If you need help in this area, please let me know. So it's exciting to be back on the show this week for another empowering episode. But before I get started, you know how it works. I want to take a minute to say thank you so much for being a fan of this podcast. You take the time to listen every week, and this keeps us going. So it means a whole lot to me and the fans. So thank you so much. The focus of today's episode is about making the shift from accidental leadership, moving to intentional transformational leadership. When I recall my journey in training and development, it all started accidentally. I have shared my story last year in one of the early episodes of this podcast and in other podcasts where I was a guest last year. And so just to give you an overview, I worked for a global organization at the time, and I was asked to lead a project on training and development. And from there, I became the corporate trainer. I loved the role so much and made the switch from marketing to learning and development, and that just became my career, and I've grown tremendously in the field, and where I've taken on so many roles to even being the head of learning and development for a nonprofit organization. So I'm sure many of you have found yourselves in learning and development accidentally. So that might be your story, but then it doesn't stop there. You can also get appointed to a leadership role that you were not prepared for, or you did not even see it coming. And so maybe your manager or leader was fired, and then you were asked to step up. Or maybe they resigned and you step up. So in this case, you are now an accidental leader. An accidental leader is often defined as someone who is put in a leadership position that they had no plan or skills for. So when we think of accidental leadership and the characteristics of accidental leaders, they lack confidence, right? So think about it. It's something that you're not prepared for. So they're probably afraid. They probably don't know what they're doing. Accidental leaders are not prepared. They are incompetent in many ways in regards to leadership. They don't have the trust from the team. They don't have the management or leadership skills. We all know what leadership is defined as. Leadership is influence, nothing more and nothing less. And that's a definition by John C. Maxwell. Accidental leaders think they don't have the influence. They're just getting by. They make mistakes daily. They're embarrassed by making those mistakes. They're afraid of what's coming next. So going back to the definition of accidental leadership, let me say this. I believe or prefer to define accidental leaders as leaders who have not given themselves permission to lead. So right now, I encourage you, if you're an accidental leader, that you should have a shifted mindset and give yourself the permission you need to become the leader you desire to be. Also give yourself permission to also use your influence. If you're an accidental leader, I want to say to you, do not panic. Take a deep breath and look at this as the opportunity to make things right and take steps to grow from accidental to intentional transformational leadership. We have talked about an accidental leader, but what does it mean then? Intentional leadership, what does it mean? It simply means you act intentionally as a leader. So rather than expect things to just happen, to be an intentional leader, you must first lead yourself. To lead yourself, you have to know who you are. So if you are an accidental leader right now who wants to make this shift, I want to ask you this question. Who are you? Do you know who you are? That's where it starts. What are you good at? What are your strengths? What's your personality? And how do you communicate best with others? I encourage you to take a DISC assessment or any other assessment out there. You can contact me, take an assessment if you'd like, or you can ask any other DISC consultant or any other assessment provider. Then at the end of the assessment, you'd have a report. And this report typically highlights your self-awareness. It lets you know who you are, the things that you're good at, how you add value to your teams, how you show up in the workplace. So that information will definitely help you to grow your strengths even more, to benefit and add value to yourself and others. When you take time to grow yourself, who do you have in your circle? That's the next thing you want to ask. Can you find a mentor? Can you find or position yourself in a circle that's interested in your growth? Great leaders ask questions. Develop a mindset of curiosity. Embrace diversity and diversity of thought. This would help you grow yourself and grow your team. You got to embrace transparency and vulnerability. It's okay to be afraid. It's okay not to know. Accept to fail forward. We grow from making mistakes. So mistakes, they're not really bad, as long as we have a mindset that we can grow from them. Perfection doesn't exist. Show your people that you care. Empathy is much needed in the workplace now than ever. Can you show your people you care? You are there for them? Can you show them that there is hope? And together, you would all make a difference. These tips hopefully will get you started in your intentional transformational leadership journey. My mentor, John Maxwell, always says, consistency compounds. Be consistent and invest in growing yourself as a leader daily. Learning never stops. To become the leader you desire to be, invest in your personal and professional growth. So that's it. We've come to the end of this week's podcast. To close, here are some final thoughts for you. In leadership, intentionality is sustained focus on a goal or initiative, one that has purpose and meaning for the team and the organization. People experience an intentional leader as deliberate. They have a plan. Do you have a plan? Bear that in mind as you work on your vision and strategy as an intentional transformational leader. To our listeners out there, thank you so much for tuning in to this wonderful episode. I hope you found this episode useful. Please share with your network. Be safe, be well, and I'll see you at the next one.